welcome to Wonderful Wednesday. This is a weekly tutorial that I do here on my YouTube channel where we break into our paper stash and make something beautiful together. All this month, October 2025, we're doing a special project with Stamperia's Whispering Woods collection. And I did a full tour of this beautiful whimsical paper collection for fall earlier this month. I'll link to that up in the corner so that you can find it. But what we're making is a pop-up book, and we're doing it from scratch. This is a nice big canvas covered 6.5 by 8.5 inch book with vintage buttons on the spine, stitching, canvas cover. We haven't done the cover yet, but we have worked on the inside. We've done the inside covers. We've done signature number 1, signature number 2, and today we're going to do signature number 3. And each of these signatures features a different style of pop-up as well as an interactive page. So I've already made today's interactive page because sometimes I think it is easier to create when you kind of see where you're going. It gives you a road map. So this is our interactive page that we're doing. It's basically a giant shutter card. And over on the side, we've got a little pocket with a cute little tag. So we're going to jump right in. We're going to go to the back of this page, which is right here. And I'm going to adjust my clip here because it helps hold the book flat, and it does make it easier to work because the book is getting thick. So let's flip this page. I'm just going to clip like this. And the first thing you're going to do is cut a 6 by 8 base page. And this time I'm using this kind of harvesty gold color because this page, when it opens, you want to have something back behind it that's not just the plain craft. So we're going to glue this down, and then we're going to set the book aside and go to work on the rest of this, okay? So this is easy. It's always good to start your day with something easy. And none of this is hard, really. This is all very simple. It's just basic paper crafting, but using imagination to make it really special. So bring in a precision trimmer. And you also want an 11 by 7 3/4 inch piece of this cocoa bean cardstock. We've used this through the entire project. And we're going to line this up at 9. The 11 inch side is lined up at 9. And we're going to score. Then we're going to come down to 6. And we're going to score. And then we're going to come down to 3. And we're going to score. All right. Then we're going to turn our paper so that the 7 3/4 inch side is on the rail. And we're going to line this up at 3 7/8. And we're going to cut a slit between this 3 inch score line and this 9 inch score line. This is such an easy project to build. It's very basic. I just want to make sure I'm lined up precisely. Yep. Okay. So we're just going to cut from here all the way down to here. And we've got this slit. Now we're going to fold it. And this is going to fold back in the center. And this is going to fold out in the front. And once we've done that, we can usually just take this and, oops, goes this way. Sorry, guys. That's the top, that's the bottom. We can take this and just fold it, all right? And burnish this down with a bone folder. And we're going to build and line this off the page because I find it's easier. So the first thing you're going to do, get all my stuff together here. This is a 5 3/4 by 3 5/8 inch piece of patterned paper. This is cut from one of the 6 by 6 images in the junk journal book. And this is the paper that has the mushroom pattern on the back. And we're going to glue this down on the bottom. And I have inked all of my edges with gathered twigs distress ink. Gathered distress. I try not to gather distress. I try to dispel distress. So some days I do better than others. Anyway, sorry. All right. So there's that laid down. And then we're going to bring in some fun little elements to dress this up. And I've lost one of my little pieces here. Let's see. Here it is. All right. So we've got this terrific chipboard boot. And we've got our lovely little philosopher gnome. And I'm going to glue him down first. This is adhesive ephemera. And I find that you have to kind of work it a little bit to get that first layer to separate, but then once you do, it comes off very nicely. But I like the extra security of adding regular adhesive as well. And he's gonna sit right over here. He's out in the country enjoying a beautiful day. So he's gonna go right here. And then our boot is going to go right here. Don't glue above the boot, because if you do, like keep it toward the bottom, because if you go above, you're going to glue to the panel behind, and then that's kind of sad. All right. So this is what we've got so far. Are you with me? Now we're just going to layer up some other fun elements. I've got this little fall vibes. And this is chipboard. I'm going to put this here, but I also need a tiny little piece of foam to go on this outside edge so that it will sit level. All right. Oops, that's the inside edge. There we go. The extra adhesive never hurts anyway. All right, now we can put this down just like this. So cute. So very, very cute. All right. And then in case it gets dark before he heads home, we're going to give him a little lantern right here in the corner. And I did put foam tape behind that as well. So that's him. Above this, I cut a 2 3/4 by 3 3/4 inch piece of this same mushroom patterned paper. This is the top of one of those 6, it's like in between one of those 6 by 6 images. And this is going to slip back behind. And we're just going to center this up like this. And then to go here, I've got this little pumpkin that I also added some foam tape to, and it says Small Joys, Big Love. Okay, and that goes right there. So that brings us to the inside of the card, and it's easier to do. This is why we don't do it in the book. It's easier to do all of this to a certain point. At a certain point, we have to put it in the book. But these are 2 3/4 by 3 3/4 pieces of patterned paper, and these are going to go on the insides. So this is cut from that same piece. This is one of the punch outs. And I added some little stickers to it to dress it up a little bit. I think I want to put this down on the bottom. So right here. Okay, good, we're good. You don't want to get too close to your slit up here that allows you to fold, because if you do, you lose the fold, and then that's kind of sad. And then right here, I'm going to put this piece with these fall leaves. Again, 2 3/4 by 3 3/4. And this is going to go right here. Well, actually, I think I want this right here. And then this mushroom pattern is going to go right here. And these are all, oops. Oh, I'm going to have to put a little cornstarch on the back of my gnome's cap, because I forget that that's adhesive and it's catching. But all you have to do is take like an embossing buddy or a little cornstarch and press it on there, and it will take the sticky off, and then you don't have a problem. So this little gal is going to go, and again, this is from the punch out sheet. She's going to go right, well, let's put her right here actually. I like that. And then I've got this beautiful gingham heart. I'm going to put it sort of down and in the center. And this sweet little fairy. Okay. And she's going to go right here. Isn't she sweet? Precious. All right. On this little panel, it's a 1 7/8 by 7.5 inch piece. And this is also cut from the mushroom. There's like a side piece that almost looks like a big tall border. And I just cut that. And this is going to go right here. Now this is going to be a pocket. And at this point, we have to put this in the book. So let me bring in our book. I'm going to flip this over, and I want to put a magnet right about here on the back side. And I'll show you why. So right about there. And I'm just going to put a little score tape over it. We're not going to pull the score tape off, because then we would stick. And while I've got this out, I'm going to go ahead and get my little gnome's hat so you can see how that works. I've just got this little anti-static pouch and just tap it over there, and it gets rid of all the sticky. So that won't be an issue for you when you're opening and closing your page. All right. Let's bring our book in. Right side up is always a good idea. And so this is the front of the signature. This is the back of the signature. Before we glue this in, I've got this little 1 by 7 5/8 inch piece. This is just cut. This is just a scrap. All right. And we're going to put this on the right hand side. I'm going to try to hold this book open so you can see what I'm doing. All right. I'm not super worried about the bottom edge. It's the top edge I'm concerned about. Now we're going to bring in our little mechanism. All right. And I'm going to take another magnet. See how it goes right to the back there? That's going to go on the base page, but we're going to add adhesive on this section and this section and this section and nowhere else, okay? So if I turn this up, it's the top of this flap, the bottom of this flap, and the top of this piece here, all right? So we're gonna line this up, get it as straight as we can, and press this into place. And now see, that magnet catches so that your page isn't going to flap open all the time, which is one of my pet peeves. So I'm going to put just another little piece of score tape to hold that magnet that's on the bottom. And if you wanted to, you could, whoops, you could cover it with a piece of paper or something. All right. There's my phone folder. We're just going to press this into place. I need to slip up just a tiny bit on the top. There we go. All right, that looks really good. A little crooked here on the bottom. There we go. I'm going to open this out. See? So now you've got this really fun little pull-out page. And in the pocket, I think this will still work. I made a little tag to slip in the pocket. So this is a Graphic 45 square tag cut with the tag liner. These are the ones that had the words on them. I have a bunch of them in my stash just because I was on the design team. So this is going to go in this pocket ultimately. But for now, I want to dress up this little flap a little bit. Let's see if I can't get this thing to clip. There we go. That's better. All right. So from the punch out, I've got this beautiful long scarf. It's just perfect for the height of this piece. And it's going to go just like this, kind of on the diagonal from the bottom left to the top right. Then I've got this darling little fairy, and you want to move her over so she doesn't hit the fold. And this is from the punch out pages in the junk journal. And it's okay if she goes over the pocket a little bit because you have room. But it's not okay if she goes over the fold. Okay, so there she is. And let me see. Yeah, let's just take this little chipboard piece that says lovely day. Put it up here. This little pumpkin goes down at her feet. Yeah, right there is cute. That's cute. Now our little tag just slips in back behind these wings. And there's our little pull-out page mechanism. Next, we have to do our pop-up on the inside. All right, friends, now that we've got our two pull-out pages done, I think these turned out so cute. I just love them. And I love the little magnetic latch that keeps everything in place. Now we're going to lift the flap, and this is the pop-up page in this signature. This is a super simple pop-up. It's called a twist and pop. Really quick and easy to make, but so fun. So I'm going to show you how to put this together. This is going to go on this flap in between the two back pages. So this is a little tricky to do on camera because The book is getting really thick, but I'm going to do my best to keep y'all in focus and everything. The first thing we have, let me just get all my stuff together. We're going to put down 2 of our 6x8 cocoa bean liners. So that's super simple. And I'm going to put these in so that they lean a little closer to the bottom than the top, because like a pop-up mechanism always works along a seam or a fold. So you want to make sure, in retrospect, now that I'm at this point in the album, in the book, if I had it to do over again, and if you haven't done yours yet, I think I might try to build each signature outside of the book and then put them in on the tabs, just for ease of adding these elements, because this is a little bit tricky, you know, to get. That's why I didn't do the cover, because if the cover were on here, there's no way. All right, so I went into my 12 by 12, the single-sided, and I cut out from the same page 2 5 3/4 by 7 3/4 patterned images. And these are going to go just like this. One here, this one I added our little fairy up in the tree branches just to make it a little more interesting up there. I mean, you can dress these pages up however you wish. You just have to make sure that you don't put anything too dimensional, because it will make it difficult for that pop-up to open and close. All right, so now that we've got that done, oh yeah, the other thing I did was I added a little fussy cut title down here. Now we're going to make the mechanism for this page, and I have a 12-inch by 4-inch piece of my lightweight cardstock. This is probably about 80 pounds. Anything 65 to like 85. I don't like to get this too thick, because if you do, it doesn't fold well. So I'm going to score this at 2. And then I'm going to turn it and score it at 6. And while that's in there, just to help you see, I'm going to take a pencil. I'm going to mark this line, this axis where the 2 score lines meet. All right. This will just help it show up on camera. You don't have to do that at home. Now I'm going to fold this in half this way, and you always want to fold into the bump. You're going to get a more accurate fold if you fold into the bump, and crease it this way and turn it. Make sure it's all lined up and crease it this way. All right. So take a piece of chipboard that has a square corner. You can even use a ruler if you want, and you're going to line it up right into that axis that we created. And we're going to pull our paper toward us into the point. And we want to make sure, just eyeball it, make sure it's straight here, and then fold this paper and crease. All right. And we're going to do the same thing on this side, where we take our point, we line it right up into the center. We line it up with those pencil lines or your scored lines, however you want to do it. But the thing is, you want to get right into the center. Pull the paper toward you. And crease. So now what we have is a triangle on top, a triangle on the bottom, and sort of a triangle on each side. And you see how this horizontal line kind of pokes up? You're going to pinch that and push these legs together. And when you do that, you get this little thing that looks sort of like a prim house. And you're just going to crease this really well. All right. And you'll know if you've done it wrong, because if you've done it wrong, the legs won't come together nicely. They'll resist. And I don't know why this happens, but always one leg is a little shorter than the other. So I'm just going to trim that off to make it even. And now we're going to bring in our book. I'm going to flip this up. And you see right here where the fold is between the top and the bottom. You're going to take your, put adhesive on the back. Give yourself a little distance between, away from the edges, but you want a fair bit of adhesive on here. And we're going to line this up at the center. And that tip goes right into the fold. Just like right into the fold. Like that. And just press that down. All right. Now we're going to put our adhesive on the front. And we're going to close the top. All right, and we're going to just press that down. I can't use my bone folder, but I can press with my hand. And when we open this flap up, this little swing arm mechanism flaps out. All right, you're going to need a 12 by 4 inch piece of patterned paper. You're going to put this on your scoring tool, and you're just going to score. You're going to score at 6 and 3 and 9. So you're creating 4 3x4 panels. So this one folds in. There's my bone folder. You want these creased. This one folds back, and this one folds this way. So I've got my adhesive in my corners, and this actually looks like a W, not an M, all right? And you're going to glue your W fold, bottom, right, top, left. So now we're attached, and we're just going to fold. And the first time you fold it, you may have to like put your hand in there and kind of encourage it to fold. But once it's done it 2 or 3 times, it's going to fold nice and easy for you all on its own. You just have to keep working it and encouraging it to do what it knows it's supposed to do. All right, so our folds are in. Then I cut, I think this was from the 8x8, or I think this is the 8x8 single-sided, these little cards, or this might be the 12x12. But anyway, they're smaller than 3x4. And these are going to glue on our panels. And again, don't get your glue too close to that outside edge. A couple of these were the blank ones from the 8x8. And so I dressed them up with stickers. But don't freak out if your mechanism at first doesn't want to fold. You just keep working it, and it will eventually do what you want it to do. Make sure your glue is all dry and you don't have any glue hanging over the edges that would stick to the bottom. And again, I apologize. This is really hard to do on camera because the book is big and bulky at this point. That's why I think maybe if I did this again, I would build my signatures off the tabs and then install onto the tabs afterwards. But there we go. There's this week's pop-up mechanism, and it works smoother and smoother every time you do it. Look how nice that moves now. You just have to like train it. You can train paper to go the way you want it to go. So there we go, 2 pop-up pages and 2 really fun pull-out pages. Super quick and easy to make. This was a fun week because nothing we did was really hard. I'll be back next week. We'll do signature number 4 with a new pop-up and a new page design. I will put in the description box below a link to my blog where you can find linked supply list. I've also linked to some products that are getting harder and harder to find up in the corner through YouTube. You can click on those and find the materials you're looking for. I've also went back and I added measurements, basic measurements and score lines to each of these tutorials just for your convenience. It took me a little bit to get to that. I had some personal stuff that I needed to take care of. But anyway, that's done and I went back and did that. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you next week. Thanks for crafting with me. Kathy Clement, Kathy by Design. Go get your craft on, friends. Bye.